Well, hello, lads and lasses. Welcome back to the ExtraTyne podcast on Gallowgateshots YouTube channel. Really great to see everybody. Welcome back. It's a new season. And tonight, I'm your host. Unfortunately, Jess is still in the queue for Pop World. This long, winding queue that she's just waiting in. So hopefully she'll rejoin us really soon. But today, unfortunately, you're stuck with me. So I do apologize for that in advance. My inane ramblings, but luckily I'll be supported by some more than capable people. So this week I'm joined by Laura.
Hello.
Hello, Laura. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Just finished a strenuous gym session there.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
I couldn't help it. It was the first thing that took me mind there. So, are you feeling good?
Yes.
Yeah. Are you excited for Sunday?
I was just going to say I'm feeling good up until 2 o'clock on Sunday.
Yeah. I think we're all in that boat. And of course, we have Matt, who's down here. Hiya, Matt. How are you doing?
Yeah, great. Thanks. Glad to be here.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. And Matt is our, if you don't already know, he's our FPL guru. He's the man to go to for all of your Fantasy Premier League knowledge. He's done a great video on YouTube as well, about 10 minutes, which is great for me because it's digestible. And he's given you the breakdown on all the Newcastle players, who's good to sign, what we might be looking for going forward if you're really into your FPL. Now, I've actually even done a team influenced by you, so I'm going to join in. Rochdale FC we've got. So can you just explain a little bit, Matt, about what it is you'll be doing through the season for us, please?
Yeah, of course. So it's my pleasure this season and hopefully many more seasons after that to kind of take control of the Fantasy Premier League mini league for Gallowgateshots. So I'll be keeping an eye on who's top of the league, giving them shout outs, seeing if there's anybody who's done any cheeky Newcastle captaincies, kind of going bold with them, and just having a bit of a laugh with some videos, really with that. And kind of keeping us posted with any Newcastle players who are doing well. Hopefully people like Almiron will actually start to shine and pull their weight and actually get attacking returns.
Good. Well, I think we can all echo those thoughts. Definitely keep those fingers crossed for those players. And in the bottom corner there, we have Shade. Good afternoon. Oh, no, say it. Yes, good afternoon, Shade. How are you?
Good evening to you guys.
And Shade, where are you joining us from this evening?
Sunny San Diego, California.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Jealous.
We're not jealous. No, we're not jealous. I'm in Gateshead, you're in Blythe, Laura's in Gateshead. It's comparable, really. It's very, very similar.
And take away the weather, it's got nothing on Newcastle.
And you were saying before that you've had a bit of a journey to get to being a Newcastle fan. So you've spent a lot of time in the UK and particularly in the Northeast.
Yeah. I see when we still had Pardue, our last season not our last season with Pardue, but when we were still in Europe was when I moved over there. And I moved out there for uni, lived out there for about 3 years. I was only meant to stay for 1, but I fell in love with it, stayed out there for 3. Kind of been all over the Newcastle area. It's my favorite city in the world.
I don't think you can argue with it. I mean, Gateshead's pretty spectacular, as you
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, we can't really argue with that. So, so give the lads a following. Just best go back to Matt there. Matt's Twitter handle. Matt, what's your Twitter handle again?
It's at @LeafyDragon_FPL.
Yeah, so if you want your FPL knowledge on Newcastle, follow that man. Right. So it's been an eventful week. Well, an eventful week and a very uneventful pre-season. No real shocking results, no real outstanding results. Absolutely nothing going on in terms of transfers up until a few days ago. Worst kept secret in the world after Steve Bruce's bashing, bishing and boshing and hammering and rolling his sleeves up. And we eventually, hopefully, seem to have got a player, I'm going to use the phrase, Laura, over the line. So Willock, 20 million plus. Obviously, you had a great loan spell with us. Laura, what do you think? Good value we've got there?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a massive boost. If I'm still until I see him tomorrow, hopefully, on Twitter, from the Newcastle Twitter account, I'm still very reluctant to get over excited. But if it happens tomorrow, it is a massive boost. And I know we're clutching at straws, but at this stage, well, I'll take whatever. And I think it didn't go without a drama, because all the focus was on these past few days of will it happen, and then the clause, which we'll go on to later. I think it very much took the shine off. We're not doing anything else. So everything's been like, right, Willock. And now, really, if you dig deep and look beyond Willock, we should have done more, and we need more. But I'm very happy, and he brings a lot to our midfield, makes it that more exciting. And in terms of the money, I personally don't even consider the money. I don't even think about it, because 20 million for what he's going to bring to our season, hopefully keep us up. He did a massive thing to keep us up last season, not single-handedly, I'm not saying that, but it was a big chunk of it was down to him, his goals. So 20 million to us, if it keeps us in the Premier League, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, definitely. I think you made some good points. And Matt, in terms of obviously, your reaction to the signing, but also from an FPL point of view, what's your take on it?
It's an amazing signing. I mean, you look at what we would be doing without him, potentially, like would be throwing in Sean Longstaff or Shelby or someone like that, and just they don't offer the same at all. I'm not going to bore people with stats and XG, because I know there's people who shout it.
No, please.
The
a bit of
that. And stuff like that. People hate it. But yeah, I mean, his XG per 90. I was looking at it's FB ref, and he's just 0.01 less than Salah for the last 6 games. I mean, arguments for whether he could keep that up. But in terms of his XG and his XGI, which is expected goal involvement, he's just massive for us. And obviously he'll bring in the likes of Wilson, ASM. Although I did notice that Wilson and Willock hadn't actually combined for a goal yet. So they haven't actually assisted or scored together, which I thought was quite odd, considering they'd scored a hatful towards the end. So in terms of Fantasy Premier League, I don't think you would go for a double up with them. You're probably just better off getting one and then hoping you're on the right end of the attacking returns. That's if we do get goals.
Yeah, I can't believe that they haven't combined for a goal. That is.
But I think Wilson was obviously injured towards.
He was injured, wasn't he? Yeah,
and he missed a fair few just after Willock signed, if memory serves me right. So actually, Willock probably filled in with the goals when Wilson was out. So,
and Shade, what do you think? What do you make the sign? And also, do you think that's a lot? Is that it? Are we done? Is that our purse strings tied after Willock? What do you think?
I mean, I'm obviously ecstatic that we signed him. I wasn't trying to get my hopes up, but the hype on Twitter and everything like that, it was really hard not to. I don't think I've fallen this hard for a loan ever. And it was just, in my eyes, it didn't seem like it was a realistic. I didn't think it was going to be realistic, to be honest with you. And I'm usually quite the optimist about things. But I mean, in terms of kind of the business model, it makes sense because he's young, he's English, he's definitely on the up and up. And if he gets, play time for us and keeps kind of progressing the way that we think he's going to progress, given the loan spell that he had with us, I think Mike Ashley's really looking at that like I can make a boatload off of him later, right? Mm-hmm. And so it makes sense that we bought him. And I think that 20 or 25, I don't know the exact number. I think that that's a steal considering the market nowadays, considering what we've spent on other players and the return we've gotten on them. I'm not going to name names, but I think you all know who I'm talking about. But so I mean, I love it. I'm so happy. I think that he's that bit of creativity we need in the midfield. And it's just nice to see a player that enjoys playing for us. Like you could tell, you could read it on his face every time post match. Like I really feel like he loved being here as much as we loved having him. And which is all the more reason why I didn't think it was going to happen, because I'm so used to just disappointment after disappointment or another loan spell The fact that he's ours for 6 years is great. I think we definitely need more depth. I don't know where we're going to go for that. I don't see us spending any more money. I think that we're going to go after a loan if we get anybody over the line, or we're going to get somebody on the free. I was actually talking to one of my mates earlier, and he was saying that he could see us go for Scott Dan from Palace, who just left, which I could see, and it wouldn't be bad to pick up. I know that we need we need more defensive depth. We do need another striker. I think we're foolish to not bring Rondon back for another season when he's a free agent. That would be through for everyone, and he wants to come back. And I mean, like, I love Andy Carroll, but we let him rot in our club for 2 years. Like, I don't see why we shouldn't be at least amusing the idea of bringing Rondon back. I think that he'd probably come back for a lot cheaper than we could have had him when we had the opportunity to sign him prior.
Yeah.
But I realistically don't see us spending any more money.
Yeah,
I think we're scraping at the bottom now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what do the recruitment team do?
Do we have one?
They obviously know about. Well, they know about. They know that Rondon's available. They know that he knows the city, he knows the team. The team's relatively similar to what he left. He's a little bit older, so he might not want all the game time, but I could think he could be a really good foil for Wilson. If they go with that two up front, takes a bit of pressure off Joe Linton. So, but yeah, I think it's it's kind of watch this space. But I think you're right about the money side. I think all this stuff about there's a 10 million bid for this and 14 for that. I think it's pie in the sky. I think they've spent all their money on Willock. The club's money anyway, not any of Mike Ashley's money, as we found out from the Swiss Ramble.
Yeah,
but there we go.
And it's frustrating too, because the Willock thing could have happened. This could have happened so long ago, right? And we're clearly penny pinching. Like we've wanted him since March, right? Or May, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, and the value of him was already there. This should have been done and dusted a while ago before we even started letting people go. But
I don't know whether that was something to do with Arsenal though, because we've went on and on about how much we've wanted him. I think they've wanted somebody to replace him with. Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of business in and out of Arsenal, isn't there? Like, there's a bit of uncertainty about players coming and going, and we've got a lot of young players. I think that's the way Arteta wants to go this season. But yeah, Laura, do you think we'll make any more signings? Do you think that's it, or do you agree with Shade? What do you reckon?
No, I think we're done. I think, like touched on earlier, I think it was very. I'm not saying that it's deliberate, because I know it was all under Willock's terms, if you like, but I do think it's helped because it's just completely overshadowed any other business, and I think that would be done. Yeah,
and what a wonderful segue, Laura, to.
It was totally unintentional as well.
To the clause, obviously now it's ever straightforward in Newcastle, and these signings that we make, we're always bartering until the last minute. And hopefully he gets signed before 12 noon tomorrow, gets the medical done. Yeah. But obviously we've been forced into a position and it's taken so long. So Laura, where do you think the responsibility lies? Who's at fault in your opinion? What do you think?
Bit of both. I think, like Shade touched on, we've wanted him for ages, and then obviously Matt said yes, but that could be Arsenal hold him back and not wanting to let him go until they got a replacement. But then again, it's just, I think players, and I don't really know if I'm contradicting myself or being a hypocrite, but yes, he's great business. Yes, he's very young. He brings a lot to the side. However, he is still young. He hasn't proven himself yet. And I think, not that any of us know exactly what he was asking for, but he was probably asking through his dad and his agent or whoever. I've seen his dad mentioned. I don't know if his dad's his agent or had an input, but I think he was probably asking for ridiculous things. But then we're in a position where we really need him, we really want him, so just give him it. So I think we're both to blame. I think it's a bit of both. It was probably a lot of to and fro, and they didn't want to give him. Mike Ashley was probably being a bit of an arsehole, and his agent.
Never.
So Matt, do you think we were at the mercy of Arsenal? Do you think we just had to? We just had to hang on.
100%, because for them, they could have just kept him. They didn't have to sell. We've came out and said we're desperate for this guy, and they've went, right, this is your price, take it or leave it. And whereas for any other deal, Arsenal might have came back and said, oh look, actually we'll offer you 18 million, whereas they know that we're desperate. So they could have said, oh, he had 35 million and we'd have had to pay it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just been one of those things.
Yeah, I think we've blown my beans on him, and I think it'll be, let's see who else comes in. Shade, do you reckon, what do you think there was who was responsible, or do you think it was just a combination of all things?
I mean, echoing what's already been said, I feel like it was definitely spot on. I think that COVID played a big role in us being able to secure him. I mean, everybody's hungry for money right now, right? And and a lot of the clubs, I don't really like Arsenal, obviously, but they're hurting financially just as much as everybody else. And we don't have money, but we're also not in as much debt as everybody else either, right? So it kind of made sense that you would go high. To be honest, like I said, I'm still surprised that we got him for as cheap as we did. I know he hasn't proven himself, but the market's insane right now. And especially for a young English player as well, right? And who has, he's battle tested for us now. And he's proven himself, I think, in what we were going to pay for him. I think that it could have easily gone to 30, 35, like you said. And in terms of the clauses, like, I don't know the specifics of the clauses. I know that there was rumors about wanting a release clause if a Champions League club comes in. I think that that's going to be the standard for a lot of young players nowadays. I think that everyone saw what Grealish did. And, regardless of, like, looking at it from a business standpoint, right? Like, Grealish was smart to do that. Not only is Aston Villa, benefiting by the amount of money that City paid, but he gets to leave, on his own terms and for a club that he wants to go to. And it's kind of, I think a lot of players see that as a desirable thing. Why would it not be? Because then you don't get into a kind of like situation maybe like Harry Kane's in right now, right? And so I think that that's just going to be the standard for a lot of young players going forward. So I don't think that it's any, like, I'm pretty sure his agent is his father from what I've read off Twitter. And if he even has an agent, that's going to be standard. You're going to ask for as much as you possibly can, especially when you know that the buyer wants to. It's capitalism, it's supply and demand. And agents always overshoot everything that they can, that they want, and then hope to land somewhere in the middle, right? Yeah. And so the Champions League release clause makes sense. A relegation release clause also makes sense. That's the one. But from a business standpoint, it makes sense, right? That's the one I'm not happy about. Because I wouldn't want him to leave for pennies because we, have a terrible season, right? And like I said, I try to be optimistic. I would love for him to go on and become a Newcastle legend, but I also would be okay if in 3 years he goes for 100 mil somewhere else, right? Yeah. Who wouldn't? I don't want it to go into Ashley's pocket, but I do want money for the club and investment and stuff like that. And I would love for us to have a different owner when that move happened. But, looking at it from business standpoints like that, I really don't blame his representation or him. And in a lot of cases, it's not really the player asking for those things. It's the player's there to focus on football, and your agent's there to kind of manage that other bullshit for you so that you can focus on the football, right? Yeah. And
I think Stu's made a good comment in the comments there about, obviously he's been there since he was a young lad, and he's only 21, and it's like Laura's favourite Paul Dummett, it would have been a wrench for him to leave Newcastle when he was 21.
He's made it into the season already.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he's not available on Sunday, but
is he not?
No, he's not. No, he's.
Put him in the starting 11. Shit.
Right, you'll have to change that.
Scribble that out.
So I think Stu makes a good point about him. Arteta isn't really, he's up for the sack race, so he could leave in January, and the manager who come in might have fancied Willock. So Willock's taking it. He's taking a bit of a gamble coming to Newcastle. So I think he probably wants to be rewarded accordingly, I would say. So, but I think that's Stu's made a really good point there. I think that's probably another good place to start, Laura, where we're going to speak about. We went on to Twitter there with the Gallowgateshots Twitter account, and we talked obviously about this signing and about the things that have held it up. And we hashtag close for concern because we were all very, very concerned about.
And I must give credit because I stole the hashtag off Roger. Roger gave it in the group chat, and I was just pinched it and put it on my Twitter. So sorry, Roger. So give Roger the credit.
Mikasa, Sukasa, you're fine. It's all right. We're all ghosted. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. So as we normally do on Extra Time, I'm just gonna go through the tweets that we got. It's been quite a really good response. Some were pretty serious. I don't think they might have watched Extra Time before and realised we're not that serious a show. It's all about the fun. So
the banter.
Yeah, I was going to say banter, but I can bring myself to say the word. I hate that word. So Rob M, friend of the show, has said Joe's clause was that he'd been told on good authority, so Rob must be one of those in the know people, that he asked the club to officially change their nickname to the Maggies, and the club reluctantly gave in to get the deal over the line. We had Jess, she must have tweeted from Pop World. She has heard that all the in the knows saying the deal was done. He heard about all the in the knows saying the deal was done. And he wanted to prove that they are, in fact, as clueless as the rest of us, which obviously they are, and we know that. Dan Langley was a serious one. He said the get out clause and the length of the contract. I really like this one from Scott Anderson, who said we had to deliver the ball to the centre circle in the little car from the Euros. So I like that. So that was his clause.
Maybe Almiron could be driving it, you know?
Yes, definitely. A little Fraser or anyone. There's loads of them would fit in that.
Matt Ritchie, yeah.
Yeah, loads of them. Oh, Matt Ritchie.
There would definitely be an incident in road rage. When
I was just going to say, I don't think he could be trusted. Alan Coleman was a good one. So Joe's clause was Jeff Hendrick never steps onto the pitch at the same time as him. I'd definitely be writing that in my clause as well. Stuart Johnson was another serious one. He thought it would be, like Shade said, Champions League or a certain release amount from a top 5 club.
The Jeff Hendrick wasn't serious?
Sorry?
The Jeff Hendrick one wasn't serious?
Yes, obviously, very serious. Top of the list in block capitals. Damio was serious. He thinks it's the length of the deal. Daryl, friend of the show, part of the Gallowgateshots team, he thought it would be a Greg's official clause for free bait. Could be.
Yeah, steak bake. It's a deal breaker.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. Sorry.
All right.
I know. Sorry.
What's your Greg's? What is your Greg's meal of choice?
Sausage and bean melt.
Yeah, sausage and beans up there. Yeah. What about you, Matt?
You said you weren't going to go on a tangent like Chris does.
Well, you bring up Greg.
Chris, he said you were on a tangent.
There's pie, but then I'd have to get a sausage roll. It's like a side.
Yeah, I was going to say that, but I didn't want to look like a pig.
Ooh. Nice. Shade, you must have been a fan of Greg's when you were over here.
Yeah, I was. I'm going to be in the minority here though, because I'd be going for the vegan or veggie.
You were going to say that.
Well, yeah. I'm one of those
American.
With all our fad diets.
Yeah.
Yes, California diet.
I'm going to try it though, because it came out after I moved.
I was going to say that it wouldn't have been there. You'll have to come back and try it.
Yeah.
Tom Lynch said that Bruce has got to cook Joe Willock bacon every day.
Yeah.
Lee Botch said he went serious as well. He was trying to get a lower release clause price than the club would have wanted because he thought they were trying to avoid a Mikel Merino situation. John,
don't mention Mikel Merino. My heart still.
Sorry.
The one that got away.
Yeah,
man.
John at Mully85 said money. Roddy Graham said he wanted to say, "Come on, you Maggies," in his announcement video, but the club didn't want him to, as they know nobody uses that word. I wonder where he got that from.
It was probably because he said it. I'm sure he said at the end of the season, like, "Thank you for opening me into your heart." You know, like he was like so excited.
Thank you for opening me with welcome arms. Like he
He was just,
come on, you Maggies! Just got excited. No, I'm sure he did it like after his first goal or first game or something. Surely somebody would have had a word.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of cute.
I do like it. Everyone, nobody like was annoyed at him, were they? Everybody just thought it was nice.
If he was playing rugby, people would have pulled him up on it, but because everyone just loved it.
Yeah, imagine if Joe Linton said it.
Are you suggesting that
he'd have been slated?
Are you saying that we're fickle?
I think we're very, very fickle. Steve Corbett says, I didn't get this one. I didn't know if there was like a hidden meaning or if Steve just loves marshmallows, because he said 3 marshmallows in brackets toasted before kickoff. So I don't know if just Steve likes marshmallows, because is there a hidden meaning?
Maybe he knows something more than we do. Maybe he's ITK.
Oh, he might be. Get in touch, please. Tone 1892 was serious relegation. Jamesy at Blue Potato 76 said Steve Bruce can't look him in the eye. Bit harsh. Tommy. No, but I think he likes Steve Bruce, because didn't he hug him? There was that moment when he hugged him. These next two I took massive offence to, but I'm going to say them anyway. Tommy Cassidy, not too sure if it's the Tommy Cassidy from the Monkey Bar, or Newcastle player, I think, as well, but mainly from the Monkey Bar, that he didn't have to appear on any podcasts. But that was a bit harsh.
Oh,
I know.
That's a burn right
there. It is, but I thought I'd call him out on it, live on it. In Shade, I don't know if this is your friend as well, Cali Mag. Do you know him?
We follow each other.
Right. Well, he said we have to get rid of Matty Longstaff because gingers scare him. Thought that was a bit harsh as well. Took offence.
A bit harsh.
Does Jeff Hendrick have ginger hair?
Yeah.
No, not like me. It's like maybe a tinge, but no, not properly.
No, I think that's pretty harsh.
Yeah, totally harsh.
Gingers.
Thanks.
Especially Maddie.
NUFC 1980 and 94 said too many zebras in the way. I'm going to quickly move on from that. David Story said went serious and was probably a relegation release clause. Mabel Syrup said buyback or low ball. I like this one from Mal H, and I'd totally sign if this was in my contract. Free behind the Black Garter. I'd be there in an instant.
Was that free beer and the Black Garter, or in the Black Garter?
In the Black Garter. In. And then same Mal H said 12 months membership in Powerhouse. I'd sway towards Pop World rather than Powerhouse, but you know. Yeah,
you haven't had a proper night out until you've had a 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock finish at Powerhouse. Like, I'm telling
you. I've never been. Never ever in my life.
Oh, mate, it's absolutely epic. It's absolutely unreal.
I don't remember any of it. I just know I was there.
Well, then you know it was good then.
Because the ears are like for about 4 days afterwards.
Nah, I can't do. Bart Geordie makes us a bit sad because I think it's quite serious, but I think it could also be true. Is if Maximum goes, then I go.
Oh. We don't need to put that juju out there.
And Martin and Ian Carney, my friend, said if it was relegation in a Champions League team, and Martin said agent fees to his dad. So thank you for all the responses. There was loads in the end. That was great.
Thank you very much. Yeah, and please, we've got about 15 minutes left. So if you want to add a comment if you've got a new clause that you've just thought of that maybe is your ITK.
But we'll never know because no one's ITK and nobody knows what goes on. So we will never know what was in that clause.
I'm not even really ITK about what's going on in my own mind. Never mind what goes on at that absolute crackpot club across the time. Right. So thank you very much, Laura. That was a really comprehensive revelation for us about
It's
all of those
comprehensive,
plans.
like a
It was
euphemism for long and boring.
No,
I feel like
comprehensive is
comprehensive, like long.
no stone unturned.
Yeah,
Comprehensive.
meaning you went on far too long, Laura.
Right.
Am I going to get wrong of Chris? Sorry, Chris.
No, don't worry about it. Chris is fine.
I didn't want to not say any because they've took the time to respond to her, which is what we wanted.
That is, yeah, that is a very
equal
good point.
opportunity, all for it.
Exactly, exactly. I like this one. The Richie clause. Matt Ritchie's not allowed to touch his face, like his own face, Stu, or anybody else. Like, is he not allowed? Maybe it's a slap one.
I wouldn't even go for the face. I'd like he's not allowed to touch us because his touch is bloody hard.
He is a violent man. Violent man. We've got a couple others, I think, that have just come up. Tom Lynch is. I think he's changing it from the Blackwater to Baja Beach Club. He's living in my world in the past.
I've never been there either. Well, I went to the under-18s, but I haven't been.
It's a little bit too late now because I think it's burned down 3 times and now it's opposite. So unless you get a job there, I'm not sure if they still have the shark hanging from the sky. Who would know? Right. So thank you very much, Laura, and thank you everybody from Twitter for giving your suggestions for clause for concern. I think probably some of them are very close to the truth. I think even the ridiculous ones. Another thing to get excited about is we've drawn Burnley at home in the Carabao Cup. Yes!
Woo!
Woo! Yay! So another season of where we don't get out of the second. Is it the second round? I think it is the second round of the cup. So do we want to talk about that? Anybody
I like calling the Jeff Hendrick Cup more, to be honest with you.
Yeah. We'll call it the Jeff Hendrick.
I saw that on Twitter. That made me giggle.
Maybe the winning team gets Jeff Hendrick.
Oh, let him win.
Do you know what I mean? Like maybe he's suspended above the ground in some sort of like hammock, which is kind of the way he plays anyway. Like, and then whoever wins, he's then lowered into their team bus and taken off. Hopefully.
Oh, there's a new release clause there.
Yeah, there you go.
There's a new clause.
Yeah, there you go. The Jeff Hendrick release clause, just getting gone. I think that could work. But yes, so I think we'll probably reflect on it once we've been knocked out of that one, and I'm sure we'll have a rant. Either the lads in the studio will have a rant, or we'll come on here and have a rant about it. But yeah, very underwhelming. I think a lot of people were. I was definitely sweating it in case we got Sunderland.
Yeah, that's the only reason I was watching, just in case.
I could see that happening many, many times over and over again, but fortunately we avoided them and we get Burnley. So exciting game ahead, which I'm sure that Sky will be falling over themselves to put on live.
Definitely be on the telly. Yeah.
So the other little bit of news coming out of Newcastle was that Sean Longstaff was sort of linked to Everton. Obviously, we're going to mention Rafa now again. We've got 33 minutes in, and we didn't mention Rafa, so we've managed to do it. Spoon him in now. So, what do we think? Is there anything in it, Matty? What do you think? I know you've got, obviously with your FPL connections, you speak with people on the Everton side. So, what do you think? Is it a real link, or is it just sort of transfer speculation?
Yeah, so I mean, I do other FPL like content, and one of the Everton people who corresponds for their club was asking me all about Sean Longstaff and whether I thought he'd be a good signing because they'd heard about it on their end. Now I kind of told him that under Rafa he was the next big thing, like next Michael Carrick and all that, and now it's just not the case. But to be honest, Everton are probably worse than us at the minute for like self-hate and implosion because of what's happening to them. Like they just haven't taken a Rafa. They just don't know how good they've got it. I can't believe it, to be honest.
Can I just respond to that, because it's been a marathon up Brown Hill. And people always mention that I drink out of a straw. Roger, as my witness, on Saturday was I drinking pints out of a straw? Tell the truth.
No, you weren't. No, you weren't.
No, it is purely just in case I dribble it down my neck.
But the odd thing though, you're in Pop World or you're in the Old George, not drinking out of a straw, where the chances of catching something are very high. Yet you're in your own house with a full-on straw. Like,
it's not about catching something. It's literally in case I spill it. It's in case I spill it.
Ah, right.
It's in case I dribble down my face. But
yeah. And that could become a meme, and you don't want that to.
Exactly.
So,
don't want it. Dribble live on YouTube.
That's fair enough. Actually, I think the Geordie Sand dancer, he wanted Sunderland badly. Now, I don't think he's a braver man than me. Oh no, sorry, the sandcaster, Geordie Sang. That's what we call him, a sand dancer, sandcaster. But yeah, okay, he'll accept it reluctantly. He'll take that excuse. So, Shade, what are your thoughts on Matty Longstaff? On Sean Longstaff.
It's one of those things where, like, obviously we want to be loyal to somebody that's been homegrown with us and everything like that, but he has been on a massive decline ever since Rafa left. Now, is that because of his injury that he had, or is that because he just doesn't play for Brucey and Brucey doesn't know how to play him? That's hard for me to tell because he didn't get much play time. And when he did, he was massively underwhelming. We're not going to get the, 50 mil that Man United wanted to spend on him a few years ago. I still think that we need, I know, right? I can't believe that, by the way. But then, in a parallel universe, we do that deal and he goes off to become the next Michael Carrick, right? And then we look like fools. But I think that Rafa definitely knows how to get the best out of all of our players that we had under him. I think that if it'll give him a career resurgence, that would be great. I don't think that we should sell him. I think that we should loan him out because jury's still out, right, on him. I mean, if we can get some money for him, I understand the business approach towards it and everything like that. But I would hate for him to go to Everton and actually have a massive resurgence. I mean, I wouldn't hate that. I want the best for him, but I would hate for him to have a massive resurgence at Everton and then that's just lost for us when, maybe Brucey's just overlooking him or doesn't know how to play him, or maybe he doesn't want to play for Brucey. But that's a tough one because it's tough seeing Rafa at Everton. So it's like, I don't know, but I mean, they could definitely use him.
Yeah. Laura, would you be sad to see Longstaff go, or do you think it's not even it? Do you think
I would be sad in terms of the, like Shade said, like he's homegrown, he's from here. It's nice to see local lads do well at Newcastle, but obviously Bruce doesn't get the best out of him. And I'm just repeating what Shade said. Rafa does, and I wouldn't blame him for going to Rafa. But then again, where's this rumour come from? Is it just lazy journalism where it's just like, oh, Rafa's gone there, let's just link every good Newcastle player that did well under him to Everton? I feel like that could be.
There was the Maxi rumor as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think looking from the comments as well, actually, we'll go back a little bit. Justin Carmichael's, he asked us, why didn't we want Sunderland?
Because we got beat.
Yeah.
Why else?
Because Bruce would absolutely bottle it, and
we don't trust Bruce at all against Sunderland.
Yeah, and I think as well, Geordie Sandcaster, he said about a swap with Tom Davis, which was I'd seen that as well. I mean,
say that one that wears the funny clothes.
Yeah. He's fashionable apparently.
Is he?
Yeah. Well,
who's that other one that does that as well?
Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah.
So he thinks the swap wouldn't be too bad of it. I think those players, although they play slightly different positions and ways, I think it's much of a muchness. I think Tom Davis is, and do you really want to be getting a player that can't get in Everton's team? I don't know. I know we're not. We are where we are, but that would be a bit of a sad thing, I think, possibly. And I think Tom Lynch, he said that, sorry, Matt, that he's been bruised. Longstaff's been bruised. I think we can all agree with that one. What were you going to say there, Matt? Sorry.
I was just going to say, I'm still mentally scarred from the fact we've sold Ivan Toney and Adam Armstrong. So
Yeah.
The fact that we might be selling Longstaff kind of rings alarm bells in my head immediately.
Yeah.
Because you can see what's happened. I mean, even you've mentioned Mikel Merino, like those sort of players that we've sold who were young players when we had them.
Yeah.
Gone on and done very much above average stuff.
But it's because they weren't managed correctly. So if
Yeah.
we're stuck with shit managers, apart from Rafa, like that's what's going to happen. They're not going to get the best out of them, and then they go elsewhere and they do brilliant. And I've seen some people on Twitter saying like Armstrong should be back here, but he wouldn't do as well because Bruce wouldn't get the best out of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think with going back to the comments, we've got El Grande Salmon. I like that. That is a great name. Shade, I think you've got a competitor for best name there, mind. He said, bearing in mind that Sean's form in that half of the season, is he a great player out of form or an average player who had a great 4 months? I think that's a really, really good point, a really good question, I think. And like you say, there is a link, I think, to Bruce maybe he's not getting the best out of him. I think as well.
Sorry.
Go on, Shade. No, go on, Shade.
I just don't think that we're in any position to be getting rid of any depth at the moment. That's the other thing. Like, GEORDIE loyalties aside, homegrown loyalties aside, all of that, right? We brought in one player. We've offloaded 4 this summer. Is it 4? 3 or 4? Carol Lejeune.
Mutu, Atsu.
Yeah. Okay. So 5, right? 4 or 5, right? And we're banking on everyone staying healthy the whole season. Now, this is a normal season. Like, fair enough. It's not going to be crazy COVID resurgence season, but we still lack a lot of depth. And, I think that we shouldn't be, I don't think we're going to make much money off of him. So I honestly think that we should keep him. And then, we're not going to have Brucey forever. I mean, isn't he favored at number 1 to get the sack first this season? I would like to see him under another manager.
Yeah,
and not be interested. That's what I said. Loan him out if we have to get rid of him, right?
Yeah.
Don't sell him.
I think it's difficult. Like, obviously, Matt, you were talking about there's Tony, there's Adam Armstrong, and I think a lot of time it's like a player in a place. It's a place in time. Like when we had them, it's it is. Not knowing what goes on behind the scenes at Newcastle, apart from complete mayhem, you don't know were those players ever going to develop? Where did they have to move to become better? Would Ivan Toney have bummed around in our reserves and then eventually ended up, playing lower down in the leagues and not really doing anything? Or and same like somebody's Get More UK. They've said about Kevin Mbabu. So there's loads of these players that we have had through our hands that have, they've been. But
then talking about timing and stuff, look at Gale in the Championship. He was brilliant. And like Armstrong and Tony and that, they are in lower leagues. And yes, they did brilliant. And I'm not taking that away from them. But Gale did brilliant in the Championship, but didn't do as well in the Premier League. So
I don't want to say it either. But the comment before about the fact he was just in form, like Sean Longstaff being in form for 6 months, that gives me a little bit of Joe Willock fear. Like
I have said that as well.
And it dinged in my brain when that comment came out. Like maybe that was just a completely inconsistent form for him. That when he arrives here, like we're gonna have fans back. He's got a price tag over his head now. He's only 21. Obviously on a big wage apparently now. Like how are you gonna cope with that?
Yeah, because I thought as well, feel really negative for saying this, so sorry, but like last season, he was desperate to be at Arsenal. He wanted to stay at Arsenal and get a place in Arsenal's team. He had a point to prove. Now, does he have that same point to prove? Yes, he might want to go use us as a stepping stone, like Rafa says for someday, but I have wrote down in my notes that I really hope he doesn't get bruised and so that is a worry as well.
Or
well, Tom Lynch was just saying there about Kennedy Shady, right?
Like that was, we all fell in love with him. I don't think to the extent that we've fallen in love with Willock, but, I remember falling in love with him, and then he came back that second loan spell, and it was just a disaster. And
Laura was heartbroken, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Devastated.
I know. I wanted him to be. I thought he was going to be something, and that was just really disappointing. I think that it could go either way, right? But I think that even though he is young, I think he's fully aware of the pressure that's now on him, right? Because we've gone all in for him. Like, he was our number one target this summer. Now we've got him. Now this could all go by the wayside, but I also think that he's surrounded by a couple other players that he's clearly friends with who get the picture. Like, Maxi and him were on holiday together over the summer, right?
Yeah.
And Maxi doesn't show up sometimes, but he still loves playing for us. He still plays hard, and he's still one of our best players. I think that's going to resonate with Willick as well. So I think there are other factors. I mean, I do worry about Bruce, but I mean, for all our players,
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot of unknowns going into this season more than a lot of seasons because of the last 18 months and no fans. And you see on Twitter and Facebook people uploading their pictures of that season tickets, and everybody, you can feel that anticipation, that excitement is growing, and you just hope it's not a damp squib at the end of it. But I think we need to. It's a cliche and it's an obvious statement, but we absolutely need to get off to a good start. Bruce needs that more than anybody than he's ever needed it in his career, I think, because those players, we have the capacity to crumble if things start going a little bit awry. So I think it's a big, Sunday is going to be a big day for everybody, I think. And I think, a couple of people, Justin Carmet, saying he's got a point to prove. So hopefully he has a World Cup coming up, and he makes an impact for us as well. Get more UK, talking about Murphy as well, who had a real resurgence, because I think Laura and we all thought he was kind of out the door at one point, wasn't he? He was sort of away. He was off on loans. And my favorite sandcaster. How are the Spurs doing in basketball season? I watch them now. Oh, he's asking you, Shane, about the San Antonio Spurs, I believe.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm a Lakers man till I die. Unfortunately, I was born into it. Yeah, but so I couldn't really comment too much on Spurs. I'm destined to hate them forever because they were such a big competitor for us, right? Which actually works really well because I hate Tottenham as well. So but we have Kiss Cam at All American Sports.
It's a bit Epstein, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, it's really weird.
Imagine me and Mel. Imagine Laura, me and your dad. Chugging these out at half time. I don't think so. Right. Anyway, so I'll just quickly race through some of the comments about we should be buying players. Oh, they're going so quick. Thank you for your comments. We should be buying players to pick a style of football we want to play. Jones's appointment source. Thrash Leicester and score 3 against City. So we do. I think the big thing for our midfield is we need that mobility, a lot of mobility, and for me that doesn't include our bald-headed friend, Mr. Shelby. But
Hendrik Shelby.
Yeah. So moving on, because we are running, we're going to finish soon. So I think we'll really quickly thank you for that, guys, and thank you for all the comments as well. I've got to give a shout out to Raza as well, my pal Raza. Laura, Raza. He took umbrage with Shade saying that he hasn't proven himself. So maybe you two can sort that out next time he's in San Diego. You never know, it could happen. Right, so West Ham United.
Always welcome, anyone is.
Yes. Oh, well, there we go. Gallowgateshots trip over there.
That's our next night out.
As long as you support Newcastle, you're welcome in San Diego.
Yeah, well, there we go. So West Ham United had an unbeaten pre-season. I know obviously pre-season doesn't count for a lot, but they'll go into the season with a little bit of confidence. They do have a couple of players missing in defence. Masaku, I think that's how you say it, and Ogbonna. And also, obviously, Jesse Lingard was massive for them at the back end of last season, similar to Joe Willock for us. He's not there anymore. So, you wonder where some of those those impactful runs that he makes and the goals that he brought to the team. And obviously, we've got Antonio, who's a threat but doesn't score a lot of goals, but he's an absolute unit. They're after a striker, but what do we think? What are our hopes? Any predictions for the West Ham game? Laura, what do you think?
Well, we played them first game last season and won, and we thought Jeff Hendrick was going to be the player. Joe Linton and Willock scored last time when we won 3-2. So we did the double over them last season. So fingers crossed we could again. So I think that could be like a nice omen. But I know it was touched on earlier in the comments, I'm really worried for Sunday in terms of Bruce and the crowd. And if we go behind, and I think it could be very, very, very toxic. But I hope, I just said hope, shit. I hope that the crowd just put everything at the back of their head just and try and get behind the team, because I think a toxic atmosphere would have just a total detrimental effect on the players. But I also, what's another word for hope? Think that maybe it might have a positive effect that the crowd are back, because Bruce is only human. He knows how much we're totally hated the formation we played, hated a back five, blah, blah, blah. He might change it just to give him that little bit of a head start of, right, well, I'm not playing a back five, so they can't get on me back for that. So I'm hopeful and not hopeful. I'm like in the middle.
What about you, Matt?
I'm really hopeful. I mean, we're unbeaten 5 games. We've won 4 of them in previous meetings with them. So I think they tend to try and play on the counter-attack, especially when they had Lingard. That's how he got all these goals. Like, they just sucked teams into attacking at them and then broke on them. But we don't do that. So I think it's kind of like it messes with their heads a little bit. And they just don't understand. It's like, well, why aren't you attacking? So hopefully we do all right. You mentioned they don't have Lingard. I'm worried about Ben Rama. He's had an absolute storm pre-season, and he's just slotted right into that Lingard role.
Does he play a similar? Does he play a similar role for them?
Yeah. He's going to be the person who's going to be trying to do what Lingard was doing last year. And I mean, 6 million in fantasy football, if you're wondering. He's my idea. Like, so yeah, him and Soufal. I'm really worried about them too. I'm not bothered about Antonio. He might go off after 10 minutes because he's made of glass.
Yeah, he gets hamstrings. And what about you, Shade? What do you think?
I mean, I always try to be optimistic to a fault at times. I think anyone that follows me on Twitter knows that I'm just optimistic every match day. I think I just really enjoy being utterly let down. But no, I mean, I'm hopeful. I don't necessarily think that West Ham are stronger this season. If at best they're on par, and they weren't good enough to get the better of us last season, right? But they did have a good preseason. I'd argue that, now that we've got Willock, I'm assuming he's going to be in the starting lineup for Sunday. We're going in with the battle-tested squad already, regardless of whether Brucey plays the same tactics or plays something different. And the thing that we've also got going for us is, the atmosphere could turn toxic, but also, Wilson's fit, and we've got him wanting to prove himself in front of the crowd, and we know that he loves to put on a show for the crowd, which I think is a good kind of, omen or however you want to look at it. I think that even if Willock turns out to be a dud, which I'm not saying he's going to be, he still has proven himself as a player that shows up when he needs to prove himself. And he'll definitely want to prove himself on Sunday, having his big debut in front of the crowd after knowing that he was such a wanted man. Maxi will turn up as well. So, I mean, I think that for the players, the crowd being there is going to be a massive, massive bonus, right? And I definitely don't see I don't see anything that West Ham have done that makes them any more threatening than they've been the past 2 seasons, anyways. And so I can't give you a score guess, but I'll always blindly be optimistic.
Yeah, we had a couple of people going for 2-0. We had Geordie Sancaster, he's gone 2-0. Marty's asking who's going to ask Brucey for a wave. Why not? I think going into this season, I think like we need to park everything and just start with a clean slate, you know, like because the players are going to need all the support they can get. You know, we haven't been supported in the transfer market, so they're going to need that extra 5-10% they can get from the crowd. So I think going in there with a positive mind frame like Geordie has and like Justin Carmichael has about 2-0 Wilson and Willock. So get that on your betting slips. You know, I think it's about going in there with a positive frame of mind, and hopefully, you know, if we go 1-0 down, it's not turning on the players, because that usually only ends in one way, unfortunately. But we'll see. Just going back to the comments as well, Craig Dawson won't be looking forward to seeing Alan St Maximum again. I think I agree with that one. And do we think Willock will start if he signs, or his lack of work in pre-season might?
Yeah, I agree with that comment before. I don't know why I'm giving Bruce so much credit, because I think before COVID, I was very much he's an arrogant, stubborn man. So I don't know why I've changed a bit. And I think, would he start him just to please the fans, or will he be realistic and think, right, he's had no preseason, no games, no minutes, so let's keep him on the bench and bring him on if we need to. So I don't know. I'm a bit torn. Don't know.
I think you might. I think you'll keep him on the bench. I think
you'll play the crowd.
I mean, he's not going to change. Like, come on.
I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't even put him in the squad and he comes on at the start of the game, and you know, you just don't know how ready and prepared he is. Luckily, the playing squad hasn't changed that much, so it's not like he would have to fit into a new system or a new squad. So you know, he could just slide straight in there. But has anybody got any sort of like? Do we think Woodman in goal? Do we think we're going to go with Woodman? Yeah, I think Woodman looks like him. In defence, Laura, who's going to be our captain and centre back?
I don't know.
Lascelles or Lachelles or Lascelles?
Lascelles, either one.
Are we thinking 5 at the back, guys? Do we reckon?
Yeah,
definitely.
I would say 3-5-2, but 5 at the back. It seems to become. I think I would be a bit more positive. I play Lewis and I play Murphy on the wings.
Yeah.
Fernandez, Lascelles, and Shaw.
Yeah.
And then is Clark fit?
That left-sided, yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I think they're interchangeable, aren't they? Like Fernandez and Clark, you know, you get what you pay for with those two. What do you reckon midfield? Is Shelby getting in there for you, Matt?
1,000,000%.
I think he will, but I'll hate it.
Yeah, by 1,000,000%. I didn't mean I wanted him there, by the way. I just think he will.
I think obviously he'll want some form of, Bruce will think he'll offer some form of creativity. But I don't think it'll happen, and I think we'll just get absolutely battered in midfield. I don't sound really negative. I do think we'll come away with some form of points. But yeah, I think Shelby will play at the expense of Longstaff and Willock. I think it'll probably be 1-1, and I think they'll bring Willock on as a bit of a crowd pleaser, because the crowd will die off, give it an hour, and it'll start to get a bit feisty in the crowd, and he'll be like, right, we'll chuck Willock on to stop them telling us on it.
Who'll then get injured because he hasn't trained that much.
Yeah,
absolutely. Why did you say that?
Sorry just to drop that bomb in there. Sorry.
I
do apologise. I do apologise.
Absolutely typical Newcastle there.
Yeah. Really quickly, what did we make of Wilson's comments about Bruce and Jones? Just El Grande Salmon has put in about, obviously Jones is the tactical man. He said that forget Bruce, Jones, NUFC in England runs a tactical show. Start like we finished and then we could be dangerous. Southgate doesn't ask JG to help out the Euros unless he is the man. So do we think Graham Jones is key in Do we think that that would have ruffled Bruce's feathers a little bit?
Yeah, I thought it was a massive dig. I think like the wording of it was like, what was it? Something like Jones is the tactical one, Bruce something. It was just a massive dig against your manager, and I was quite shocked, to be honest. And I thought Bruce, like I said earlier, is very stubborn and like spits his dummy out quite a bit, so that would have pissed him clean off.
Yeah, 100%. I think it also really kind of confirmed our suspicions about how the club is being coached, right? And like, because we've all been loving Graham Jones being here, and you could see it. And, and Brucey really tried to downplay that last season. And he even made Jonesy kind of come out and say like, oh, I've come in and done things, but I'm just building off of what everyone was trying to smooth out how much the fans reacted to Jones coming in. And I think that Wilson just dropped a big grenade in that and really just kind of confirmed all of our, suspicions or whatever about what the big change was. Right. And Brucey does have such a big, fragile ego about things that one does have to wonder about that. But he also, has to win because I personally think that, I hate having him at our club. I really do. I don't like him for all the obvious reasons. But I do think that if he manages to do something special this season, people will look at him a bit differently. Now, does he have that in him? I don't know. But I also think that you can't deny how well we did in the Euros and have that be your attacking assistant coach and not utilize him for the sake of your pride, right? Like, you can't be that prideful, can you? Like, I mean, I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, we'll see. I think if Bruce just came out and said, like, acknowledge the fact, like
give him his credit.
Ferguson used to change his coaching team because he needed to move with the times. And if Bruce just acknowledged the fact that, my job, I motivate the men,
man management.
This is my role. And Graham Jones is it, and really big him up, and embrace it, because that's what everybody's thinking. So you might as well just write it out, in my opinion, anyway. But we'll see. I think, we've got a lot of positive. I think there are positives to look at, obviously the signing of Willock, but, ASM's back, Wilson's back, Almiron will become, there is positives in the squad. And I think of those bottom half teams, which unfortunately we are and probably will destined to be, I think we just need to get a really good start and get really, really hit the ground running. But we will see on Sunday. So is anybody I'm going to go with a prediction. I'm going to agree with a couple of the lads who've commented. I'm going to say 2-0 Newcastle. I'm not going to commit to scorers, but I'm going to say that there's going to be some kind of Willock and Wilson link up in one of the goals. Something like that anyway. But we'll see. Laura, what do you think? Are you going to brave a prediction?
Yeah, I'll go. I do think that West Ham will score, so I'm going to go 2-1 to us.
Oh, yeah. Are we going to come from behind, or are we going to?
No, because I don't think we would be able to with the crowd. I think we might be 2-0 up and they'll score, something like that. I just sense them scoring. I can't say a clean sheet.
Yeah. Matt, what do you think?
I kind of agree in the fact that we'll be 2-0 up. I do worry that we'll end up slightly capitulating.
No.
Not like 2-2 maybe. I'd like to hold on for a 2-1. But I do fear that there might be a 2-2 there. Just because of the quality that West Ham have.
Okay. And Shade, now,
all right.
Come on. You've been pushed on these comments, mind.
I know.
Come on, Shade, it's your turn.
Laura. I'm going to go
drum roll.
I really do think that, like I said, I'm an optimist. I do think that we're going to win on Sunday. I think that, we have the greatest fan base in the world, and that carries players a lot further than it does at other stadiums, other clubs. I think that, Wilson and Willock are going to finally get to experience how intoxicating and motivating that crowd is. And I think it's going to push them to another level. And we already know that Wilson can perform with nobody around. And like I said, he's a showman. I'll even go a little bit further. I think we're going to win 2-1. Wilson's going to get both goals.
Nice. Beautiful.
Cool.
Beautiful.
And Willock will get that Wilson assist.
There we
Whether
go. The
he's
link
up
up. It's happening.
or not. Yeah.
It's
All right.
happening.
You can all slip me on
the odds.
Sunday if we lose after that.
Yeah,
Sticking
man.
with.
We're not about slating each other. We're just reflecting on bad choices. That's all we're doing. So, just to tie things up. So, I read in the newspaper actually there is apparently an NHS COVID pass spot check apparently on the day of the game. I saw that on NUFC.com. Those lads are always in the know. So, it says there might be spot checks with stewards asking supporters to have their NHS COVID pass ready for potential scanning on arrival. All sounds very official and thingy. I think the vaccine bus might be there as well. So if you fancy a little prick before the game, get yourself down there. Apparently, I don't know. You're just winning Pfizer chips. Who knows? So, but yeah. So big game on Sunday. Everybody, I'm sure, is really looking forward to getting back there. Let's wipe that slate clean and let's see how we get on. But thank you very much to Laura. Thank you for supporting me through this tricky time while Laura's...
I feel like I was the Graham Jones to your Steve Bruce.
Oh. That's not a compliment.
Sorry.
Is that because I mentioned you being at the gym? Is that...
Yes, and you put us on the spot with that centre back. If you mentioned centre backs and all that, no.
Oh, mate.
Yeah, sorry.
I thought we were better friends than that, Laura. That's low.
Okay, I'll change it. Neville and Carragher.
I'll take Bruce. Matt, thank you very much. Thanks for joining us again, guys. Leafy Dragon _FPL. Give him a follow. Check out his video on the Gallowgateshots YouTube channel. It's 10 minutes. It's a really great, really comprehensive. Gives you some good ideas and good tips, and keep following throughout the season for your FPL, all your FPL needs. And thank you, Shade, for bringing a bit of coolness to our podcast. Much appreciated. And hopefully it won't be too long. Hopefully it won't be too long until we see you again. Thank you to everybody from for the comments. Sorry I didn't get all of them to show, but I really, really appreciate it, especially Geordie Sandcaster, Geordie Sanddancer, one of the two anyway. But thanks very much. See everybody later. Thanks very much. And how are the lads? And let's win on Sunday. See you later, everybody.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye. Thanks again.